What's going on? Another boxing video. This one is about the Jake Paul fight versus Anderson Silva. Yep, that's right. I just got a chance to see it, and I'm going to let you know what I thought about it. So, early on, I didn't know that much about Anderson Silva. I know he's an MMA great, but I don't know MMA that well, nearly as well as I know boxing. So, I never seen him box before. And I'd seen Jake Paul fight Askren and the Woodley fights. I've seen him fight. So I thought that Jake was going to win easily. In the first round, neither guy really did much, but I thought Jake won off activity. Then by the second round, I thought that Anderson Silva did better, but by round two, my thought was these guys are not good. These guys are bad. These guys are not very good. That's what I was thinking. And I'm like, wow, these guys are just, Jake Paul, he's just swinging for air. He's hitting air on these swings. But then I kind of thought to myself, okay, they're not world champions. We got to be fair about it. My expectations are being too high. This is not Usyk fighting Joshua. Okay. So I'm like, you know what? This is pretty cool. I thought that Silva won rounds 2 and 3. Then I thought that Jake came back in round 4 and did a little bit better and won. Round 5, I had Silva. But to me, what Jake had done was Jake just outworked him in rounds 6, 7, and 8. And he had the knockdown, in round 8. Now, I thought that was a legit knockdown. I know people are saying it's fixed, but it looked legit. It was a legitimate punch. And he won the fight based on activity. I gave him rounds 1, 4, 6, 7, and 8. So that's 5 rounds to 3, any of the 10-point round. In order for Silva to win, he would have had to have won 5 rounds because he had the knockdown Jake Paul. So if it was 4-4, Jake Paul wins. And there's no 5 rounds that he won. So Jake Paul won clearly. I don't think there was really any serious controversy. I think people saying that don't know how to score boxing matches or they just hate Jake Paul. I did think a younger Anderson Silva would probably win because Silva's technique was better than Jake Paul, and he did a lot of subtle things that Jake Paul was not used to. And this was the first time in Jake Paul's career that he had to fight at a faster pace. The way Silva fought, he did a lot of probing jabs, he changed the speeds, he moved his waist, and it made Jake Paul very uncomfortable at times to a point where he didn't have to, he had to step up his pace. It wasn't like the other fights that he had in the past where he could slow down, jab, right hand, wait, hold. It was very slow-paced fights versus Woodley, especially the first one. And the both of them, they were slow-paced fights. I'm not going to count the Askren and fights, Nate Robinson, because those fights were too short. This was the first time he really had to dig deep and fight at a much faster pace than he's comfortable with. And he did it. He took some punches, but he stood in there. He held when he had to. He survived, and he won the fight. Was it, the greatest technical fight? No. I think at one point Silva was doing this nonsense with his hands down, this MMA nonsense. I'm like, what is this guy doing? But I think Silva's technique is a lot better than other MMA fighters. You could tell he really does box better, and he has had a lot of experience in boxing. I think a younger Silva probably would have beaten Jake Paul, but Jake Paul, this was his most impressive performance because to me, this is the first time I felt like he really had to overcome something. I know people say the Tyron Woodley second fight, he wasn't, doing, so well, and he stopped him. And really in the first fight also, he got hit and he had to overcome that. So maybe I'll take that back. This was the most he had to dig deep, if any of his fights. And I know that he didn't knock him out or he didn't look as good, but when you step up in opposition, this is what happens. But yeah, I gotta say this. I mean, to me, if he's going life and death with the 47-year-old Silva, he obviously can't beat anybody that's legitimate. And I actually think for the first time after seeing this, that Mike Tyson, even at this advanced stage, would knock out Jake Paul because the pace that Mike fights at and his speed and power, and he has enough defense still where he'll probably knock Jake out. But that's neither here. Well, for right now, it's really going forward. That's the question of who he fights next. But this was a good fight, especially that last, 4 rounds. It was entertaining. So I give them credit. This was definitely Jake Paul's best fight, not his best performance, but It's his most impressive performance. So you know what? It is his best performance because I factor in your competition. It's his best performance and it's his most impressive performance. And it was the best fight because it was the most competitive. Good for Jake Paul. Good for Anderson Silva. And good for everybody involved. Please let me know what you guys thought about this fight. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace.